So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Thank you for joining this breakout session organized by Lytx. Lytx is a video telematics company, but they are also evolving in the field of artificial intelligence. And today, Fernando Ferreira is going to deep dive in one of the most important topics of this conference, namely to set a simple but straightforward fleet management across Latin America. And I'm convinced that he is going to tell us how connected technology can help you with that. So, Fernando Ferreira, thank you very much. Thank you for joining. Thank you also for the support of the conference. Like with the other breakout sessions, the idea is that you can first do your presentation. People can ask questions via the chat. And at the end of your presentation, I will try to moderate an engaging discussion together with you based on the questions that the participants have sent to us. Okay?
Perfect.
So if you are ready, we are set to go. I will put myself on mute, put off my camera so that you have all the attention that you deserve.
Thank you very much. Let's get started. Thank you everybody for being here. I will be brief. I only want to cover three things. One is who is Lydix and what is ServeSite. The second thing is how does it work, and the third is how would this give you value. First of all, well, we have been in telematics for many years. ServeSite is a solution that was acquired by Lydix last year. And it's been developed basically on the insight and feedback from fleet managers that we have been working with for many, many years. The goal with ServeSite is to provide a very affordable, integrated solution that provides real-time visibility into what is happening in your fleet, and that can also be integrated seamlessly into other systems. So this could mean other telematic systems, other platforms, or even the customer's enterprise systems, if that is something that they wish to do. We want to capture behavior in real time. So as Stephen mentioned, we have added artificial intelligence functionality to our camera. This allows us to capture several events in real time and provide alerts to the driver in terms of those behaviors, to help them self-correct. These alerts will happen in real time, and they can be configured so that they are also transmitted to the platform where a fleet manager would be made aware of these situations and can review these events. So these are artificial intelligence events which help us reduce the cost of providing a very high value solution with all the details that AI allows us to provide, without the need for human supervision. And this happens at the device level, so even if the device loses connectivity partially, it will still be able, with the AI that runs in the device, to provide this information and help improve the behavior. Also, we allow for live streaming, so a fleet manager can basically monitor the vehicles in real time. The cargo, we support auxiliary cameras, so that not only the main camera, but additional cameras that would allow live streaming at any moment. We've made this accessible via the cloud. This means that you have access to it anytime, anywhere. And one of the things that we've done is to our platform, we've added APIs. APIs, for those of you who don't know, are basically components that allow integration between platforms. So this would allow a third-party platform to access the events, the video, and all the information that has been generated by the devices. It's fully secure. We have our own interface, our own dashboard, and we also work with partners like Geotab to integrate this information into their own user interfaces. In our UI, you have an interactive map with real-time tracking and alerts. You can get email alerts with video if there is an event, and you can set permissions, levels of access for different users for privacy. Now, it is very important to say that we've made it very, very configurable so that it can adapt to the privacy needs and legislation in each market, in each country, and not only at that level, but at the company level. So if different customers have different needs in terms of permissions, in terms of privacy, in terms of when and how video should be recorded, our platform is very, very flexible in terms of how you can configure it. So it will adapt to your needs. And that is it. A very quick summary of what we do, where we are going, and I leave this open to your questions
now. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Fernando. This was indeed a very condensed presentation. Thank you very much. I see that there is already someone, Mohamed Mnemne, who is typing something. Okay. Fernando, since you presented Surfside, it seems that this is an all-in-one solution. Who is your target group? Are those the fleet managers? Are those the leasing companies? What kind of fleet are you targeting with that solution?
Perfect. So our solution is an all-in-one solution in terms of video telematics. We integrate with other companies that provide telematic solutions like Geotab, for example. So with Geotab, you would have an end-to-end solution that includes all their functionality and their platform, plus the video value that we would add to it. So that creates a true end-to-end solution. Our target at the end of the day is anyone that has the need for video telematics. So in this case, most larger fleets in LATAM have a need for video telematics at a cost that is accessible to the market. We understand that LATAM is a price-sensitive market, and we believe that with our AI implementation and our product, we have the value of very expensive telematics, video telematics solutions at a much lower cost that fits perfectly into the market through our partners and directly to the consumer through them.
Okay, perfect. Fernando, can I ask you to stop sharing your screen? Because I think that we see it in black. Yes, that's better. So now we are both more visible, I think, for the audience. The follow-up question of Mohamed is that he sees, of course, that many big fleets already have quite some complex systems when it comes to connected solutions and to telematics. And the question is this also intended for those fleets or those companies with smaller budgets?
Yes, most of our customers are the larger fleets, although we believe because of our price point and the simplicity in operating it, it could be a standalone solution for any smaller fleet at a very good cost-benefit relationship. So yes, it would cover both larger and smaller fleets.
Mm-hmm. A question from my side. I'm based in Europe, and here, of course, there is, although that we have GDPR since a few years now in terms of regulation around data privacy, there's always that question of Big Brother is watching you. Do you sometimes, with your business, video telematics, I can imagine that you sometimes also have that skepticism of some fleet managers with the employees, perhaps work councils. And what is your answer to them?
Yeah, so there's several challenges there. I will focus on the technology piece. The first one is we need to make sure that we provide a platform that is flexible enough to comply with legislation around privacy, right? So for example, we have an instance in Europe that is isolated from the rest of the world to comply with legislation there. But we provide enough flexibility in our platform so that a customer, a private customer, can make sure that they comply and have enough settings so they comply with their own internal way of doing things. We're assuming that when they call us, they have made the decision to implement video, but it has to be flexible enough to where it is as invasive as the customer wants it to be.
Mhm.
And that is completely configurable from the technological perspective. And we will allow the customer to be as invasive as they want to, right?
Okay. Mhm. Um, Another question from Mohamed Menemne is, since the system is cloud-based, Fernando, you mentioned that in your presentation, how long are the videos saved? Are they saved in the cloud or maybe in a built-in storage system?
Yeah, all of the above. So the camera itself has a local storage, but these are transmitted to the cloud. They're stored on our cloud. They're stored by default for 30 days. And there's many configurations around that. So if you want just a snapshot, a picture, if you want a shorter video, a longer video. So that can all be configured by our customers. But in general, the way it works is there is local storage, and then it is the events and the videos are uploaded to the cloud. When we want to look at events, we also have live view that would allow through the cloud for a fleet manager to supervise and look at the video in real time.
Do you have the impression that with the pandemic and the consequences of the pandemic, in terms of how people would like everything to be safe, that your technology will have a prosperous future?
I mean, I believe it does have some impact. I also believe it is temporary. But what I think will not change is some companies have invested heavily in logistics. And I think that's where we play a big role in terms of adding value to that, adding to the safety and to the security.
You were saying that you are partnering with Geotab. Does this mean that in every country in Latin America you are also partnering with Geotab, or is that for specific countries?
It means that at the technology level, the platforms are integrated, and in Geotab's platform, you can see video events generated by our cameras. We do have commercial conversations, but it's beyond the scope of this presentation. But in terms of technology, the platforms are fully integrated.
A follow-up question on what I just asked you about Big Brother from Haley Hansen. What exact tip do you have for her and for other fleet managers to sell a solution like yours to the drivers who feel that they are being spied or watched by Big Brother?
Yes, and I think that's a very, very good question. So at the end of the day, it will depend on where they see the value, right? I would suggest definitely understanding where the drivers see the value. Maybe they perceive value in safety and security. Maybe they perceive the ability to clearly not be blamed for an accident that wasn't their fault because it's on video. So you can find value to them, and that's the way to position it. But it will depend on having the right information as to how you position this internally.
Perhaps something that I can add from insights from other fleet managers is that when they are talking about telematics and the success of telematics, then they say, well, one of the things that you need to do is what Fernando also mentioned, that you need to seek the value for your driver. And so what you need to avoid is that you try to sell it as a benefit for the company, and that you stress out the cost savings that the company can make via the solution. So you need to try to personalize it for the target group that you are addressing with the technology. So I think that that's also very important. I would like to know, Fernando, talking about your technology, how long can it take, does it take to install a fleet? Does this mean that you make an appointment with your company, that then there is a series of appointments when they come and install the devices? Will it be done on site? How does it work normally?
Yeah, so we work through our partners in the region. They will design a specific plan for each of our customers depending on their needs and the availability of the equipment to do the installs. Installing a camera is a very simple process. In some cases, there's auxiliary cameras that need to be installed, and that takes a little bit longer, but it's a customized plan, and that will be determined between our partner and the fleet manager or the user, whoever manages that side, to create and determine what the plan is.
Okay. There is another question. What is the impact of Surfside on SIM data consumption on average?
The average consumption varies widely depending on the configuration. So an average is not a good way to look at it, but with a low profile of use, you might be looking at 200 megabytes. With a very high usage configuration, you might be over a gigabyte. So it depends on the needs, the way it's configured, and what you want to do with it. Again, we make it flexible enough that these decisions can be made by the end customer, not by us, not by our partner, by the customer's needs.
If we think about telematics, if we think about video telematics, video technology in vehicles, then in the first place, we think about addressing vehicle safety and safety management. What are for you the other benefits, the other gainings that a fleet can have through your solution?
Yeah, so we definitely focus on safety and security, specifically in Latin America, with security becoming more of a focus. Video adds a lot of value there. But also, I think there's great value in terms of training and improving the driver behavior. The fact that the camera is helping the person learn and self-correct is of great value. So I would say safety, security, and also training is a big piece. That is from the device itself and the video. The other piece is in the integration. There can be great value when you use the APIs to obtain information that you can use to make decisions that are not specifically related to safety, security, or driving. So for example, creating training plans, improving routes, because sometimes looking at what's happening in a route might make you make a decision to go through a longer route that seems initially not as cost effective, but when you know what's going on, it might be a good option, right? So at the end of the day, there's value depending on our customer circumstances and needs.
Can you elaborate a little bit on the, how do you say it, the business plan? When I'm a fleet manager and I have a fleet, let's say, of 500 vehicles across Latin America, and I would like to have 300 of them installed with your technology, do I pay per unit? Do I pay per month? Do I pay per year? What is the cost structure that you have?
Yes. We have a cost structure that is based on two components. One is the hardware, that like any hardware you purchase once. And then we have a monthly recurring fee for the cloud services and the access to the information. And there's a third component that you would agree on with our partners, which is the installation of these devices. So it's a traditional model where you buy the hardware, you pay for the service, and there's an install cost at the beginning.
Okay. You also underlining the fact that since some time now, you are making quite some progress in terms of artificial intelligence technology. How will that further impact your business within Lytx, but also that of your customers?
Yeah, so we make great progress because we have information, data, metadata on millions and millions of miles driven. So you can feed AI models with that information. Just like other companies do, we take the data, we feed the models. So that's kind of where it comes from, and that's the way to get to a good AI model. So now from our perspective and the customer's perspective, the answer is the same. It allows us through AI to provide very high value solutions at a low cost. The more AI does, the lower the cost of adding value to our customers. So we will be providing more and more AI functionality as time goes by that is incredibly valuable in detecting events and helping you correct those events without increasing the cost that, for example, the alternative, which would be having humans review these videos, would have, right? So low cost, very high value solutions based around AI that is fed millions and millions of miles of data.
So it's a double win for the fleet manager and his company.
It should be. And the other thing is that the more AI you have in the camera, the less invasive it might be perceived as, right? Because you don't have humans reviewing that behavior. It's just the camera saying, hey, you are not wearing your seatbelt, you are smoking, you are eating, but it's not a human making those corrections. So that in some cases might be perceived as less invasive.
A question that just popped in. Do you also have any model for client-hosted solution instead of the cloud, especially when we are talking, for example, about governmental fleets?
Not at this point.
Is it in the pipeline or no?
It's not something that we've been discussing in depth. We have not seen a huge need for it. It is something that obviously in technology you can do anything, right? But it's not our focus right now, and it's not something that we're offering or discussing.
Okay. The final question from my side is linked also to the implementation of your technology. Do you see a big difference, a variety in appetite across Latin America? And if we are talking about implementation across Latin America, do you then recommend to do it with those drivers or those vehicles that are, let's say, the most challenging, that need the most the technology because of perhaps safety history and so on? Or do you say, well, no, you always need to have a broader view and start with a mixed fleet, let's say, where you try to include both the bad drivers and the good ones?
I mean, again, it's very customer specific, but I would say you don't know what you don't know. So how can you determine which parts of your fleet are more worthy of video than the others when you don't have it, right? At the end of the day, what we see is, yes, initially it's a partial implementation and then it grows. And when it grows to the whole fleet is when we start knowing things that we didn't know, and we start to understand the value of having a full implementation. So it again depends on the customer's needs, but we believe at the end of the day, video across the fleet will add more value than in some pockets around it.
Okay. Fernando Ferreira of Lytx, thank you very much. Thank you for the insights. Thank you also for answering all the questions of the participants, and thank you for the support for this conference. And to the audience, now we start again with a networking break where you can meet with your peers. So please connect in the networking area or visit the digital booths of our sponsors, of which Lytx is one. So you can find Lytx and the other sponsors in the expo area. Thank you very much. Thank you, Fernando.
Thank you very much.